Alright, it is midnight on 6/17, and we are here doing a late night episode of Eyes on the Meta because I got bored. So, if you don't know what Eyes on the Meta is, it is a video series where we go ahead and we look at very interesting Japanese deck lists to see what fun and unique ideas we can transfer over to the English format. We also sometimes do take a look at like meta decks and whatnot, but after a while, all the meta decks look the same, so we're just looking for fun and quirky kind of stuff. Tonight, anyway, at least, because I'm really bored. So without further ado, getting right into it, we do have Jesmon, my personal favorite Digimon of all time, and Jesmon is a deck that did receive some support in BT13. It received support in the form of an entirely new evolution line, and it has some pretty solid matchups all around. Having anti-bounce and anti-DP minus means you have a lot of tools against Metalgarurumon as well as Greymon, just as well as flooding your board so easily. Death X isn't as popular anymore, and yeah, deck is pretty hot. This list is specifically running the Kuzuhamon egg, which I do believe is the best way to play Jesmon because it makes your GX play so cheap. And with the entire new evolution line as well, it's very easy to make super easy Jesmon value. This list in particular, I would probably change a couple of things, like tweaking the Sistermon ratios, for example. I think 4 of the BT10 CL is a little bit too much, but other than that, the list looks fairly solid. It looks pretty similar actually to a North American list. Maybe change a few things here and there, but mostly, yeah, really solid. The idea is just a turbo into your GX combo because GX combo is a 2-turn kill that sets up 3 to 4 bodies depending, and they will have the Ganku X protection. So really just solid stuff all overall. We do have Gammamon. Gammamon is a deck that we won't get until September, actually, just due to Rising Wind being delayed a little bit because they're giving us English exclusive reprints. But Gammamon as a deck was actually pretty competitive with Wargreymon during the original BT12 for Japanese format. And the reason why is because you hit really large DP, you had pretty strong removal overall. Just you had a lot of value generation, really. And so with the Gammamon style of deck, with your Seriousmon, you're able to put out a lot of offensive pressure as well as destruction, as well as the Arcturusmon. The two in combination were really powerful. I know with the Arcturusmon combo, you're able to delete your own Digimon to pop your opponent's Digimon, and then with the Analog Youth, you can immediately hatch again, or you could spawn another Gammamon actually as well, and you can just rebuild off of that. And then with the Proximamon, it was just a ton of pressure overall, and the deck with the new hero became a lot more consistent. This list in particular, I think you could probably tweak a couple of things here and there. But for the most part, I think the list is relatively solid. You can very easily swap out some of your Gamma pieces. But otherwise, yeah, list is pretty solid. Arguably, you might want to run a little bit of Memory Tamer Hero just because, but I also think that you're okay without it. But the extra DP it does grant you is pretty nice. So overall, yeah, really solid list. And then I know it's really blurry and dark. But it is Armor Ulforce. So armors do receive a couple of buffs in the upcoming sets with the Gold Veedramon, which gives you DP minus as well as stun something. And then we do get the new Magnamon being when this Digimon would leave play, draw 1, and play out a Vmon for free, as well as being a blocker. So the entire concept of this is, right, you're using your armor low end just to have additional aggression. You have cards like the Davis Ken to get the restand as well with your Vmons and such, or when you like evolve into your armors and whatnot. So Armor Purge, go down, back to Vmon, Evo up, and then you get to restand and swing out again. Using the Ulforce engine, you're able to have a really powerful top end that can just generate a lot of advantage as well as bounce out your opponent's board. Just in general, I think the Armor Edition is very interesting. I don't necessarily know if it's better than pure Ulforce, but it does admittedly give you a little bit more in terms of early game aggression. In Paladin mode being a card that actually just entirely strips out Machine Dramon stacks and then sends it packing, right? And we do have Fish. And this is an Aegisdramon deck that does run the new Seedramon promo, which grants you Rush on your Digimon whenever you play it out. So it is a huge aggression booster for the deck. you also notice that it does run the 2 Metalseedramon from BT2. Metalseedramon is, when you play it out, then it allows you to bounce back level 6s. So you can tuck it underneath using your multitude of abilities, because you have a lot of cards that just tuck blue cards underneath. And then Aegisdramon allows you to play Seedramons by its effect. So by doing so, you can then play a 6, and a 6 will bounce the opponent's 6. And yeah, really powerful board disruptions into certain decks that just want to hard slime a lot. The introduction of the training boost is a really huge buff to it, just because it's making you much more consistent across the board in terms of getting to your top end. And flooding board has never been the issue. The issue really has been trying to look for a payout and looking to conserve your board. And Seedramon helps tremendously in terms of that payout, because it does give you that rush, so you get that additional aggression. Okay, moving on, we do have the Kuzuhamon deck. This is very akin to yellow Kuzuha. So let me go ahead. Yeah. Okay, so yellow Kuzuha. Yellow-based Kuzuha, and I know there's blue-based Kuzuha with armors, but yellow-based Kuzuha does get a couple of new toys, specifically a lot of new 5-cost options. So Megalo Spark is one that we don't see very often. It's essentially, I forget what the card is called specifically. It's the set 1 card Symphony, but it's a minus 8,000 DP, I believe, this new one. And it reduces its play cost by 1 if you have a yellow tamer. And then you do have Odin's Breath, which reduces security attack, minuses DP, and when trash from security, it also applies an effect. So you're just looking at these high quality cards to be playing out. The new Edamon is Digivolve on play, so you can hard slam it and then go into your Kuzuha style of play. Shakomon with the Joggerist style of engine, and using the Angemon as well as the Domon. They're both blue-yellow, so it's very easy to get value off of that and get a heal. Seedramon gives you rush on cards you play out, so if you have Seedramon in your source, that does mean whenever you call off a Kuzuhamon will immediately gain rush as well. And it does run the Invalidation plugin, which basically just turns an opponent's Digimon into a vanilla. So this Kuzuhamon list is just looking to generate a lot of value, especially using the Joggerist to extend the value. And then Ruin Mode, of course, a powerful top end, allows you to keep your opponent in raising. And then following up, we do have another Kuzuha list, very similar actually. I think this might actually be the same list, looking at it now. Oh, it is. It actually is the same list. So this person has managed to top 2 different Japanese locals actually playing this exact same list. And then just to verify, let me go ahead and look up what this Edamon does to make sure that I'm not crazy, because I might be the crazy one here. Let's see here. Edamon. On play, when Digivolving, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. On deletion, you may play 1 yellow or black Digimon with play cost 3 or less from your hand. So if we are guesstimating the mathematics behind this Japanese player, Chimera, tuck Edamon underneath, Kuzuhamon gets removed, immediately play a Renamon. Or you can just use it for de-Digivolve. You can just use it for de-Digivolve actually, because DP minus your opponent's stack, and then de-Digivolve them, and then when they get de-Digivolved, the DP minus inflicts. That makes a lot of sense. That actually makes a ton of sense. Okay, I can get behind that. That's actually really cool. So, following up, we do have a deck that's very akin to Yellow Hybrid. It does run the Lopmon engine, and if you can't see it because it's behind the TK Kari, but it does run the 3 Suzy Wongs, the Blinding Rays, and the Odin's Breath. So when you burn the Odin's Breath with the Blinding Ray, it will trigger, getting some value. And then you have, of course, the Yellow Hybrid top end, using the Wargreymon to play out more Tamers, Venusmon to stun out your opponent, and interestingly enough, it does include the Gallantmon that reduces its play cost by 2 for every 5 cards in either player's trash. So that Gammamon is a really great card to splash in a ton of different decks. It's very super splashable, and it removes anything that is 6,000 DP or less, and anything that is 13,000 or more. So it hits quite a bit of a threshold, and it's on play when attacking, when Digivolving as well. So you can proc all 3 of those in this deck. So yeah, as far as Yellow Hybrid is concerned, you can generate quite a bit of value. And then we do have another Leopardmon deck, but this is Leopardmon GG. So using Taiga to reduce cost as well as give you additional DP. You're using Mame Tyrannomon to kind of gotcha into the Leopardmon, because if you gotcha into the Leopardmon, that will go ahead and trigger its multiple effects. And then you have Ponyamon getting your cards rush. You have Toromon to stack the deck. you have the Pulsemon that gives you DP when cards are suspended on your board, and of course the Digimon. So you can Mame Tyranno into the Digimon, get out free Tamers, and then set yourself up for a Leopardmon style of play. You do also have this Tyrannomon that gets you out the free Taigas, and Gargomon. I believe Gargomon gives you, it reduces the Evo cost as well as giving you some additional DP. And then we do have Grandiskuwagamon, aka Grandis, making a reappearance in JP. If you look at it, it does receive a boost in the form of training, because that will increase your consistency fairly, pretty nicely. And it gives you, it's only for 2, right? So it's much easier to play earlier on. It does run the Kuwagamon engine, including the new Promo Kuwagamon. And Promo Kuwagamon, I'm going to pull it up. Promo Kuwagamon is on play / when Digivolving. One of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers cannot unsuspend until the end of your opponent's turn, and ESS is gain plus 2k DP. So it's a really nice way to stun out your opponent's cards. With Kuwagamon X, you can extend over it and then make your grand display. So this actually takes a little bit more of a control-esque style and has a Quartzmon top end as well to stun out your opponent entirely. So very interesting way to keep playing the Grandis deck. But of course, Grandis did fall out back in BT11, especially with Greymon X getting hit. But as we see, Wargreymon is now the best deck in the format in JP currently. So in theory, Grandis should be get into it, but Wargreymon hits a little bit too high of DP for it to actually have a good matchup. And speaking of Wargreymon, we do have Wargreymon. Just showcase a little bit more of the black base Wargreymon using the Agumon X instead of the red Agumon. It's because you're using black Koromon Egg, because the Koromon is when an attack target is redirected during either player's turn, plus 1000 DP. And it's using a multitude of the black cards. And notice that it doesn't run any memory boost nor training boost. And the reason for that is because if you go black, that means you're going to whiff on all your red targets, and if you go red, then you're going to whiff on all your black targets. So most likely, they, instead of trying to like dig for these pieces and potentially whiffing, they've opted instead to just go for more of those pieces in general, so you can just draw into it. It does run 4 of the BT12 Wargreymon. I don't know if that's necessarily correct, although that is probably the best way to go about it in the mirror, but I think a toolbox style could be really good. And it does run the double trident arm, which is such a powerful option. Minus Digivolve 3 and then force them to swing on the start of their main phase. So Wargreymon, definitely currently Japan's best deck. But into decks like Mirage, it can struggle because Mirage cannot be redirected. And then, surprisingly making an appearance, we do have Alphamon. And Alphamon does receive some buffs in the form of an entirely new evolution line. The new Dorugamon is plus 1000 DP during both players' turns, I believe, if you have X antibody. The new Dorugamon is going to give you, I think it's check top 3, add a piece, trash the rest, and then end of turn, it's grab a piece from trash and then put it underneath your stack, so it's giving you a lot more of extender. New Alphamon allows you to grab a piece from trash, and then if this card would leave play, or grab a piece from trash, prevent your opponent's Digimon with 10 cost or higher from swinging, and if this card would leave play, you can just get rid of a piece instead. It does run the Digitalize of Soul, which allows you to more or less gotcha into your top end, but I don't think you really need that, and then Oryuken style. So yeah, new Alphamon is just a lot easier to get the pieces that you need to play the game, and then Oryuken is just still a super powerful card that really just, it's good at just really anything. Going into purple, we do have Beelstarmon making an appearance, interestingly enough. It looks very similar to Beelstarmon that saw play back in BT11, but you notice it does run a Ruin mode top end, because you can go Beelstarmon for relatively cheap, and then Ruin mode against your opponent to just lock them out of the game. The new Porcupamon, this is the one that's blocker on deletion mill 2, so if you're spawning out some early Impmons, which you also have Security Impmon to help assist with that, then you can extend with Porcupamon for blocker on and then the mill. And this runs the blue base, so you do have access to Cocytus and the the Howling Crusher. And finally, we do have, once again, actually, for the second Eyes on the Meta episode in a row, you do have the Skull Mammothmon Metalgarurumon deck making an appearance. So this deck, I actually believe this might be the same list, but nonetheless, it's still really cool to see. Being able to see that this deck has a little bit of more gas towards it, being able to just generate so many bodies, disrupt your opponent's turn, and really just flood the board with good value level 4s and below. Specifically, ones with retaliation, raid, all that other good stuff. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Eyes on the Meta. I really do appreciate all the support. Please look forward to next week's episode as well. Peace out, guys.